Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you for a minute. You ever had somebody leave your life and they didn't say nothing? No argument, no closure, no text, no call, not even a hey, I hope you're doing good, just poof, gone. See, people think when a man goes silent, it's because he's at peace. Like he done moved on, found himself a new boo, living his best life, not thinking twice about you. But let me set the record straight. Silence don't always mean peace. Now, sometimes that silence is just pain wearing a mask. Now, ladies, I know what you think. If he hurting, why he ain't say nothing? Why he ain't call me, message me, pull up, something? Because you think when people feel pain, they cry, they speak, they reach out. But men, we a different breed when it comes to heartbreak. We was taught different. We was raised different. See, a woman gets her heart broke, and her mama, her friends, her co-workers, they all gonna surround her, support her, sit her down with a glass of wine and let her get it out. That sister got an emotional support system, a whole healing ministry ready to show up. But a man, he get his heart broken, the world just tell him, man up, suck it up, keep pushing. So what does he do? He shuts down. That silence, it ain't calm. That silence is chaos. That's him battling every emotion inside his chest with no roadmap, no language, no release. You ever wonder why a man will go ghost after a breakup, but still be checking your stories, still be liking your friends' posts where you show up in the background, still popping up at that spot he knows you like to go? That ain't coincidence, baby. That ain't just happen to be there. That's pain. Silent, stubborn, strategic pain. He won't call because he think it'll make him look weak. He won't text because he's scared you won't respond. He won't speak up because he don't know if the words will come out right or if they'll come out at all. So instead, he sits in that silence and hopes you can read what he can't say. Now, I'm not saying every quiet man misses you. Some men really are just moving on. Some really do find peace in the absence. But when a man goes quiet and you know he ain't the type to just shut down unless something heavy hitting him, chances are he's hurting. He's replaying every conversation. He's thinking about what he should have said, what he shouldn't have said. See, peace is loud in its own way. It don't hide. Peace has joy in it. Peace lets you move different. But pain in a man, pain is quiet. Pain tells him to isolate. Pain tells him not to burden nobody. Pain tells him, don't show your cards. So he listens to that pain, and instead of dealing with it, he disappears. That ain't peace. That's survival. Sometimes silence is his only way of coping. It's his defense mechanism. He ain't trying to be cruel. He's just trying to breathe. Because if he opens that door to speak his truth, he don't know if he'll break down or explode. So he chooses quiet. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's all he's got. Now, ladies, here's what I need you to understand. That man's silence, it ain't always about you. Sometimes it's about what he can't face in himself. It's about regrets, shame, fear, insecurity. You might think, well, if he loves me, he should fight for me. But what if he don't know how to fight? What if he was never taught? What if all he's ever known was to retreat, not speak? You might never get the apology you deserve. You might never get that closure conversation. But just know, his silence don't mean he's at peace. It could very well mean he's in pain. That man might still be in love with you, but too broken, too scared, or too proud to say it out loud. So while you over there thinking he's fine, walking around like it don't hurt, nah, baby, he just quiet. But don't confuse that quiet for healing. Sometimes it's just hurt with the volume turned all the way down. Let me tell y'all something real quick about men and emotions. Because a lot of people get it twisted. Just because a man don't say nothing, don't mean he ain't feeling nothing. A man can be emotionally mute, but still be deeply, deeply moved. He can sit there stone-faced, arms crossed, mouth shut, but inside, man, he's feeling everything. See, women expect love to come with expression, and rightfully so. You deserve to be told you're beautiful. You deserve those long talks, those affirmations, those "I missed you" texts in the middle of the day. But here's the thing, most men don't know how to do that, not because they don't want to, but because somewhere along the line, they were told that emotions make them weak. That boy, when he was 5 years old, cried because his toy broke. His daddy said, "Stop all that crying, boys don't cry." At 12, when his first crush broke his heart, his boys laughed and said, "Man, forget her. Don't be soft." By the time he hit 25, he had learned to keep it all bottled up. That's not strength. That's trauma dressed up in silence. So now, when that same man loses a woman who meant the world to him, he don't know how to process it. He don't write letters. He don't blow up your phone. He don't stand outside in the rain with a boombox. He just shuts down, goes ghost, stays quiet. But don't let that fool you, because behind that silence, that man is moved. He thinks about you, wonders what you're doing, wonders if you think about him. He gets in the car and your favorite song come on the radio, and it takes everything in him not to break down. He might not tell his homeboys. He might not even tell himself, but he's feeling it. You ever notice how some men get real busy after breakup, hit the gym hard, start working late, traveling all over, posting pictures like life is grand? That ain't healing. That's distraction. That's a man trying to outrun the storm inside his own heart. He's emotionally mute, but every action he takes is shouting what he won't say out loud. I'm still hurt. I'm still here. I still care. And sometimes he'll reach out in the smallest ways. He won't say, "I miss you." Now that's too direct. But he'll send a meme or "remember this" photo. He'll respond to your story with a laughing emoji just to get you to notice he's still around. That ain't random. That's intentional. That's his version of vulnerability. We got to understand, some men were never taught how to swim in deep emotional waters. So when love gets real, when heartbreak cuts deep, they start drowning. But instead of flailing and yelling for help, they just sink quiet. And you on the outside think he ain't moved. Nah, baby, he moved. He just don't know how to move through it. That emotional muteness, that inability to express, that hesitation to speak up, that's not because the love was fake. It's because he never had the tools. He never had the words. He was never given the permission to feel. So now he's trying to navigate love and loss like a man with no compass, no map, and no directions. But that doesn't mean the journey ain't real. That doesn't mean the emotion ain't there. It's like a volcano. Looks calm, but underneath there's fire, pressure, movement. That man you think don't care might be sitting in silence because he feels too much, not too little. And it ain't always your job to fix him, but it is important to recognize the difference between someone who's indifferent and someone who's just afraid to speak. So next time you see a man go quiet after a breakup, don't be so quick to assume he's unbothered. Some of the quietest men feel the loudest pain. And just because he can't say it, don't mean he don't mean it. Let me tell you something real about men in heartbreak. Pride and heartbreak don't speak the same language. They on two completely different wavelengths, and when both show up at the same time in a man's life, it's like watching two people argue with no translator between them. Pride says, stand tall, don't let them see you sweat. Heartbreak says, fall apart, let it all out. And most of the time, pride wins, not because it's stronger, but because it's louder in a man. See, ladies, when a man gets his heart broken, the emotions don't just hit him in the heart, they hit him in his manhood. That pain ain't just sadness, it's shame, it's failure. It's that voice in his head saying, you wasn't enough, you let her down, you messed it up. And right when heartbreak wants him to reach out, to fix it, to be real about what he feels, pride steps in. Pride throws up a wall and says, nah, man, we don't beg, we don't chase, we don't look weak. Now here's what gets complicated. Because that same man who's sitting in silence, acting like he don't care, he's feeling everything. He wants to call. He wants to show up. He wants to say, baby, I miss you. I need you. I was wrong. But then pride comes knocking like, say all that and you lose your power. So he don't say nothing. He just sits there in the middle of a war. His heart saying go, his pride saying stay. And y'all know how we was raised. Men are taught to protect their pride like it's gold, like it's a badge of honor. Don't cry, don't break, don't need nobody. So when heartbreak comes knocking, a man don't let it all out. He bottles it up. And when a man bottles up heartbreak behind pride, you get a version of him that looks cold, distant, like he's already moved on. But that's a lie. He's just hiding behind the only armor he's got left, his ego. He might be dying inside, but you won't know it. He'll post like he's good. Walk past you like it don't hurt. Smile when he sees you out, even if his chest is tight. Because to him, heartbreak is pain. But showing heartbreak, that's weakness. That's vulnerability. That's exposure. And he ain't trying to be exposed, not to you, not to the world, not even to himself. That's why you see so many men try to replace rather than repair. He'll jump into a new situation, not because he's healed, but because he's trying to prove to you and himself that he ain't hurt. That pride needs to win the image game, even when the heart is losing the real one. And if you ever wonder why he never apologized, why he never came back, why he never admitted what he did wrong, it's because pride won't let heartbreak get a word in. He's afraid that if he opens that door, the pain might flood through and drown him. He's afraid that if he admits he lost you, he's admitting he failed. And for some men, failure is the one thing they were never taught how to deal with. Pride tells him to stay silent even when his soul is screaming. Heartbreak tells him to speak up, to fix it, to heal. But pride don't speak healing. It speaks hiding. It speaks cover up. It speaks fake it till you feel nothing. And the tragedy is he ends up living in that silence, pretending he ain't still holding himself together. So you see, a man can be brokenhearted and still not say a word, not because the pain ain't real, but because his pride can't translate what his heart is trying to say. Pride and heartbreak speak two different languages, and most men were only ever taught to listen to one. Let me tell you something, ladies. When a man is really done with you, he disappears. I mean, all the way. He ain't watching, he ain't asking, he ain't checking. He goes dark like you never existed. But when a man is still emotionally tied to you, even if y'all not talking, even if y'all ain't together, he starts checking in quiet ways. And let me be real with you, that means he's still connected. He might not say it out loud. He probably won't send no "I miss you" message or call you in the middle of the night pouring his heart out. Nah, he's too proud for that. But that man's presence still lingers in the background of your life. And if you pay attention, you'll start to see the little breadcrumbs he's leaving behind. He'll watch your stories, not like a few. He watches every single one. And he won't interact either, won't say nothing. But baby, he's there, quiet, watching. That's him trying to feel close without getting caught. That's him saying, "I still care," without ever moving his lips. Or maybe he don't even follow you no more, but somehow he still know what you're up to. That ain't magic. That's investigation. That's him scrolling through mutual friends, seeing what you post, where you go, who you with. That's him staying in the loop without being in your life. You think he don't care? You think he moved on? Nah, he just moved into the shadow. You'll notice he hits you with the occasional "just checking on you" text, real casual, out of nowhere, probably on a Sunday night or when he know your birthday coming up. It ain't just small talk. That man is peeking through the door, trying to see if it's still cracked open. He don't want to walk in. He just wants to know if he could, if he needed to. Sometimes he'll ask mutual friends about you, but he'll play it cool like, "Hey, yo, how she been?" Like it don't mean nothing, but you best believe it does. He's hoping to hear you're single, hoping to hear you miss him, hoping to hear you still say his name in conversations that matter. And if he's really struggling with the loss, he might start showing up in places he know you be. Maybe not right next to you, but close enough. Same events, same coffee spot, same city hangouts. That's not coincidence, that's strategy. He's trying to bump into a moment, trying to cross paths with fate. But in his mind, he ain't pressing you, he just happened to be around. You see, some men won't risk rejection, but they'll send a signal. And when a man still checking in, whether it's through your phone, through your people, or through those subtle pop-ups, he ain't over you. He's still emotionally invested, still looking for signs that maybe, just maybe, the door ain't completely shut. And you got to understand, for a man, this is vulnerability in disguise. This is him saying, "I still feel something," but without putting his pride on the line. Because to him, admitting he still loves you might feel like losing. But peeking in, that's safe. That's his way of staying close without stepping on your toes. Now, you can decide whether or not that's enough, whether you want that half-stepping, backdoor communication. But make no mistake, if he's checking in, he's still connected. That man hasn't let go. He's just too afraid to hold on the right way. So don't overlook the quiet ways. Silence don't always mean absence. Sometimes it's the only way a broken man knows how to say, "I'm still here, just not sure how to come back." Let me break something down for y'all. When a man loses a woman he truly loves, he don't grieve that loss in public. He don't wear it on his sleeve. He don't post long captions about heartbreak. And he definitely ain't calling up his boys crying into the phone, nah. Men grieve love in the shadows. They deal with that pain when nobody's watching, when the world's asleep, when he's alone in his car, sitting in the driveway with the music low and the memories loud. See, women process grief out loud. They cry, they talk, they sit with their girls, go through the pictures, ask questions, and say things like, what did I do wrong? They want to understand, they want to heal, they want to feel it fully. But a man, he ain't never been taught how to do that. He was raised to believe that emotions are dangerous, that pain is weakness. So he buries it deep. You might see him out a week after the breakup, laughing it up with his boys, posting pics like nothing happened. You think, damn, he moved on quick. But what you don't know is that when he gets home and them lights are off and he ain't got nobody to perform for, that's when it hits. That's when the silence wraps around him and the truth starts speaking. That's when he realizes your laugh ain't echoing through the room anymore. Your scent ain't on his pillow no more, and he can't rewind time to fix the stuff he didn't say or the way he acted when he still had you. Men grieve love in moments that don't make it to social media. In moments like looking through old text messages, scrolling through your Instagram, hearing your favorite song and suddenly forgetting how to breathe. He might still have your picture in his phone, but he won't look at it when people are around. That's for the shadows. That's for when he's alone and can finally admit to himself, yeah, I messed that up. I lost her, and now I don't know how to live without her. The worst part is men often grieve late. Sometimes months go by before it really registers, because while you're going through your process, working through the heartbreak, talking it out and getting stronger, he's avoiding it. He's distracting himself with work, with other women, with hobbies, with noise. But when the dust settles and life gets quiet again, that's when the grief shows up. And by then, you might already be gone, moved on, healed. That man might never tell anybody he misses you, not his friends, not his mama. He'll just carry that ache like a ghost on his back. He might laugh and joke and act like he good, but deep down, he's haunted by what he lost. He's grieving a version of you that still smiles at him. He's talking to you in his mind when nobody's looking. He's walking through life acting like he okay, but he ain't. And don't think just because he got someone new on his arm that the grief is gone. Sometimes the new woman is just a bandage on a wound that ain't even scabbed over yet. He's trying to move forward, but he's still looking over his shoulder, because when a man truly loves you, truly connected with you, he don't just get over that. He might pretending, but pretending ain't healing. Men don't grieve in the spotlight. They grieve in silence, in the shadows. They bottle it up until it spills out in ways they don't even understand. Anger, isolation, regret. And most times, the only one who ever sees the full weight of that grief is the man himself. So while the world thinks he's fine, while folks believe he done moved on, just know behind that strong front is a man still missing what he didn't know how to hold on to. Let me tell you something, ladies, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Sometimes his silence is his loudest cry. That man who used to call you every day, text you good morning and good night, make plans, argue, flirt, and fight, when all of that just suddenly stops, when he goes quiet, that ain't peace, that ain't closure. That's a man who's screaming on the inside and don't know how to let it out. See, we live in a world where men are expected to be stoic. Be strong, they say. Don't show emotion, they say. And so we got generations of men who were never given the space to just feel. So what do they do when heartbreak hits? When regret creeps in? When they realize they lost a real one, they shut down, they go silent. But don't you dare mistake that silence for healing. That man ain't moved on. He's stuck, trapped in his own thoughts, his own pride, his own confusion. He ain't talking, not because he don't feel nothing, but because he feels everything. And the weight of it is heavy. He don't know how to carry it, so he just stops talking. There's pain in that silence. There's I miss you in that silence. There's I wish I could take it all back in that silence. But see, a lot of men don't have the emotional language to turn that into words. They weren't taught how to say, I'm hurt. They weren't raised to say, I'm scared you'll never come back. So instead, they stay quiet. That's their way of crying out without begging. And sometimes that silence is a punishment, not for you, but for themselves. That man sit alone in his apartment, flipping through old pictures, scrolling through your page, staring at your name in his phone, but he won't hit send. He won't call. He thinks he don't deserve to. He thinks too much time has passed, or maybe you're better off without him. That silence, that's guilt. That's him beating himself up for what he didn't do when he had the chance. And then sometimes silence is a test. He's thinking, if she really loved me, she'll reach out. He waiting on a sign from you, waiting on you to break the silence because he's too scared of rejection to break it himself. But that ain't strength. That's fear wearing a mask. That's ego getting in the way of love. There are men right now walking around, joking with their friends, flirting with new women, grinding at work, but inside, they're crying out. They missing a woman who made them feel safe, seen, and solid, but they'll never say it out loud. They just suffer in silence, hoping that maybe, just maybe, you still think about them too. Now I know some women say if he really cared, he'd say something. And I get that. You're right to want communication, but understand this, not every man knows how to speak pain. Some men only know how to carry it. And sometimes the only way they know how to show it is by saying nothing at all. That silence is not the absence of feeling, it's the overload of it. He's overwhelmed, he's ashamed, he's confused, but he's not over you. He's not fine. He's not numb. He's just trying to hold it together in the only way he knows how, by saying nothing, doing nothing, and hoping that somehow you'll hear everything he can't bring himself to say. So the next time you hear nothing from him, don't always assume he don't care. Don't always assume he's done. Sometimes that silence is the loudest cry for help, for forgiveness, for another chance. But you gotta decide if you're willing to listen to a voice that's coming from the quiet.